War over a bucket? In 1325, Bologna and Modena went to war over a stolen bucket. Yes, a literal wooden bucket. And that's not even the weirdest part. Bologna and Modena were already rivals in the Guelph versus Ghibelline conflict. The bucket theft was the spark. Result? A war that killed 2,000 people over a bucket. Why was Italy a powder keg in the 1320s? Two factions, Guelphs loyal to the Pope, Ghibellines backing the Emperor. Bologna was Guelph. Modena, Ghibelline. Blood feuds turned every border town into a battlefield. Bologna and Modena were neighbors, constantly skirmishing. The Guelph-Ghibelline conflict gave their grudges a noble cause. So when Modenese soldiers stole a bucket, it wasn't just theft. It was a declaration. In 1325, Modenese soldiers snuck into Bologna and stole a bucket from a well. A bucket. Not gold, not territory, a wooden bucket. Why a bucket? Because Bologna had raided Modena first. The bucket was payback, a symbol of humiliation. When Bologna demanded it back, Modena refused. Petty theft became a matter of honor. Why didn't Modena just return the bucket? Because doing so would mean admitting defeat. In a world where honor was everything, that was unthinkable. They said no, and a bucket became a declaration of war. Both sides mobilized. Bologna raised thousands. Modena did the same. The bucket was now a symbol of pride. Neither could back down. The stage was set for the Battle of Zappolino. On November 15, 1325, the armies clashed at Zappolino. Bologna sent thousands, determined to crush Modena and get their bucket back. Modena had better tactics. The battle was short but brutal. Modena won decisively. Around 2,000 soldiers lay dead, most from Bologna. Modena's soldiers grabbed the bucket and carried it home in triumph, proof that a petty theft could spark a war and that the smallest things win the biggest victories. What happened after the war? The peace treaty of 1326 ended it, but Modena had one condition: the bucket stays. Bologna never got it back. That bucket is still in Modena today, hanging in the Palazzo Comunale. Tourists snap selfies with it. A wooden bucket that cost thousands of lives. A petty theft became a lasting symbol. The bucket reminds us how small triggers can spiral into big conflicts. That's the real legacy of the War of the Oaken Bucket, a lesson in absurdity, carved in wood. The War of the Bucket isn't alone. History is full of conflicts sparked by petty things: a stolen pig, a severed ear. The lesson? Small triggers expose big tensions underneath. But to understand why a bucket could ignite a war, you need to see the bigger picture. Italy wasn't just divided. It was a chessboard where every move had consequences. The Guelph-Ghibelline feud wasn't just about popes and emperors. It was about local power, land, and revenge. These two cities were pawns in a larger game, and their rivalry was a microcosm of Italy's chaos. So where did this bucket come from? It wasn't just any bucket. It was a well bucket, used by the whole community. When Modenese soldiers stole it, they weren't just taking property. They were stealing a piece of Bologna's daily life. The well was a gathering place, a symbol of civic pride. Losing that bucket was like losing a part of the city's soul. But Modena didn't just steal the bucket. They paraded it through their streets, mocking Bologna. It was a deliberate provocation, a way to say, we can take what's yours, and you can't stop us. For Bologna, this was an insult that demanded a response. The bucket became a symbol of Modena's arrogance, and war became inevitable. Bologna's leaders gathered in council, debating whether to go to war over a bucket. Some argued it was foolish, but the majority saw it as a test of strength. If they let Modena get away with this, what next? The decision was unanimous. They would march on Modena and reclaim their honor, bucket and all. Modena, meanwhile, prepared for war. They knew Bologna would come, so they chose their ground carefully, the hills of Zappolino. Their commander, Francesco Bonacolsi, was a seasoned tactician. He positioned his troops on high ground, ready to use the terrain to his advantage. The bucket was now a rallying cry for Modena's soldiers. Bologna's army marched out of the city gates, banners flying, determined to crush Modena. Thousands of infantry, cavalry, and crossbowmen made their way toward Zappolino. The citizens watched them go, hoping for a quick victory. No one imagined that this march would lead to one of the bloodiest battles of the era. The battle started with a volley of arrows and crossbow bolts. Then the infantry charged, clashing in a brutal melee. Swords clanged, shields splintered, and the ground turned red. Bologna fought fiercely, but Modena's position gave them an edge. The bucket had become a symbol worth dying for, and many did. Midway through the battle, Modena's cavalry struck Bologna's flank. The Bolognese line wavered, then broke. Panic spread as soldiers fled, pursued by Modenese knights. The battle turned into a rout. Thousands of Bologna's men were cut down, their dreams of reclaiming the bucket shattered. When the fighting ended, the field was littered with bodies. The dead were stripped of armor and left for scavengers. Bologna lost over 1,000 men, Modena far fewer. The bucket was safe, but at a terrible cost. The war had proven one thing: pride could turn a trivial object into a mass grave. Modena's soldiers carried the bucket back to their city in triumph. They hung it in the town hall as a trophy, a reminder of their victory. For centuries, it remained there, a symbol of Modena's defiance. Bologna never forgot, but they could never get it back. The bucket had become a permanent scar on their pride. Today, the bucket hangs in Modena's Palazzo Comunale, protected by a glass case. Tourists from around the world come to see it, snapping photos and marveling at the absurdity. A simple wooden bucket, worth maybe a few dollars, yet it cost thousands of lives. It's a silent testament to how small things can spiral into tragedy. Modena's soldiers carried the bucket back to their city in triumph. They hung it in the town hall as a trophy, a reminder of their victory. For centuries, it remained there, a symbol of Modena's defiance. Bologna never forgot, but they could never get it back. The bucket had become a permanent scar on their pride. Today, the bucket hangs in Modena's Palazzo Comunale, protected by a glass case. Tourists from around the world come to see it, snapping photos and marveling at the absurdity. A simple wooden bucket, worth maybe a few dollars, yet it cost thousands of lives. It's a silent testament to how small things can spiral into tragedy. That's the real story behind the War of the Oaken Bucket. A bucket theft, a battle, thousands dead, all over a piece of wood. Next time you see a bucket, remember, pride and honor can turn small things into big conflicts. Subscribe for more forgotten history. That's the real story behind the War of the Oaken Bucket. A bucket theft, a battle, thousands dead, all over a piece of wood. Next time you see a bucket, remember, pride and honor can turn small things into big conflicts. Subscribe for more forgotten history.